How do you know when it's time to walk away?
If you are having some dysfunction, or if you're just not as happy as you were in the past, or things are not going well, and you do present to your partner, hey, I'd like to really invest in our relationship a little bit more. And you do it in a loving way, not pointing the finger and saying like, this sucks, I hate being with you, we need help. Like that's very different than saying like, I want to experience an epic relationship with you and I'm willing to put in more effort and time and energy into experiencing that with you. I would love to see a counselor, read a book together, listen to the medicine podcast, or whatever the thing is. If you're putting it out there and they are shutting down every idea that you have and just absolutely not interested in working on the relationship with you, that is absolutely enough grounds for me to say we clearly have different values.
If you communicate, this is super, super important to me at a very, very fundamental level, and your significant other is like, well, not to me.
It's time to like say, thank you, I wish you the best. Welcome back to the Medicine Podcast. This is the Chase and Mimi Show with Mimi and Chase.
What is going on, everybody? Yeah.
If you're watching the YouTube version, you've probably noticed that we're in, yet again, a different visual setup.
We're testing out new spots because the reality is the last one I looked like shit. I looked like someone just put a super soaker of diarrhea all over me.
Oh my God. Wow. That's such a vivid visual.
Yeah, it was tough. So we're moving along. Also, like my body was up against the couch and it like moved all of my skin to the front. And I looked so like a pear. Like the way that I was shaped, it was very Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, we can't have any Jabba up in here.
No. So my skin is appropriately suctioned to my body and not protruding out for the audience to see.
When we went to record this episode, Chase vehemently demanded that we have a different setup.
Yeah, I looked like Jabba the Hutt is actually a really, really great metaphor.
All right. Well, y'all, exciting news. The secret is out.
Mimi is with child.
Yes, I am officially in my second trimester of pregnancy. Today, actually, is beginning of week 14. So great news there. We spilled the beans on Instagram yesterday and got a flood of beautiful, nice messages. So thank you to everyone who commented and said nice things.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I am pretty burnt out on social media and tech at large, but God, I was thinking yesterday, like, man, it feels nice. Do you feel the love from so many people?
Yeah. Oh my God. Within literally the time that it took me to, write the post out and push, okay, submit, post or whatever. And then I took like 5, if that, minutes to repost to my story, add some music, add a little caption. I went back to the post. It was maybe 2 or 3 minutes later. And there was already like 60 likes and like 40 comments. I was just like, whoa, okay. And there were a lot of people that were like, I've been waiting for this announcement. But it was very sweet. And it feels good. It feels good to have it out there. We've been keeping a little secret for obvious reasons. But yeah, it feels good to be able to share with all of our people.
Yeah. April-ish due date. And
April.
It's a boy. It's the Prince of Peace and the Lord of Lords.
Wow, we are giving birth to the Lord of Lords. Someone just stopped listening because they're like, this is blasphemy.
Oh, sorry. No, it's not. It's not the Christ child. Although Christ consciousness is available to this beautiful young boy,
right? As it is to all of us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share some cool things about your pregnant body that I found on Instagram.
Okay.
And then maybe we can share a little bit about our experiences thus far through the first trimester. Yeah. These were just some fun things that I was like, whoa, the human body, the female body especially, is just incredible.
Yes. The portal.
The portal. Yes. So it says pregnancy remodels your brain and its gray matter. Your brain changes, which I've heard before. You and baby swap cells, and their cells may help repair things in your body.
Wow. I hope they fix your knee.
I know, that'd be nice. I need to like put a little suggestion into like the, baby suggestion box.
When I put my palm up against him at night, I will ask him if he can do some repair on the meniscus.
Make yourself useful,
Right.
You grow a new organ, the placenta, and then get rid of it. And I read yesterday, it's actually on here. I'm giving away my own secrets.
Wow.
Literally the next fact, which is what I was going to say. Your placenta grows up to 31 miles of blood vessels. What?
Damn.
One organ, 31 miles. Crazy. Your voice might change, losing some higher notes and gaining some lower ones.
Interesting.
Have you noticed my voice changing?
No. But I will start paying attention to it.
All right.
I'll ask you to sing bass.
I wonder why that happens. Maybe like a lower voice is more soothing to baby.
I wonder if the hormones in your body that, do you get a raise in testosterone and a raise in growth hormone, like anabolic hormones that would cause your voice to drop? Because so like when women take testosterone, for instance, whether it's for medical purposes or for like, cheating in sports, their voices drop pretty significantly.
I don't know what it is. Because if you're having a girl, it's not like your testosterone rises.
Doesn't rise at all?
I don't know. Somebody look that up and let us know. Okay. Your rib cage grows in circumference. One of the reasons pregnancy back pain is so common. Your heart literally grows in size. I'm just like the Grinch over here. 3 sizes bigger. At full term, you produce more estrogen in one day than a non-pregnant woman does in a year.
Wow.
That's wild. Your blood volume increases by 50%.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that one's wild. That one I knew. But when you actually think about it, it's like, okay, no wonder she's swollen. No wonder it's obviously healthy to gain a certain amount of weight. But also like, I've noticed as we were like hiking and stuff and walking uphill and everything, I don't know how much of it is pregnancy and how much of it is just we're at a higher elevation and I'm not used to it yet. But like I get out of breath so much quicker. And I think it's partly because of like, I don't know, the increase in blood volume, like the pressure. Output, the pressure is just different. But I definitely feel like, oh, okay, wow. Yeah. I need to take a break here.
We are going from sea level to like, what did we say? 4,000?
350, something like that.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Your heightened sense of smell may help you stay away from unsafe foods. We were just talking about that yesterday. You were like, you farted in the car.
Really?
And I was like, oh, babe. And you're like, I don't smell anything. You must have a heightened sense of smell. I think it was
just a very normal just passing of the air. That was, for me, very minor. But for you...
It was aggressive.
Yeah. Well, I sensed nothing, but I'm supportive of the idea that the pregnancy nose picks up on even slight.
I think women in general, even if you're not pregnant, have a heightened sense of smell. I think just naturally, because there's often times where I smell something before you do. Like when we're driving in the car and we go by like, we're near a farm or something. And I'm like, oh God. And you're like, what? I'm like, don't you smell that? You're like, and then 2 minutes later, you're like, oh yeah, I smell it now.
I think I must have like a longer pathway, bigger nose, bigger face. It's just that it takes a little bit longer to get into the sensory.
Yeah. What's your experience been like through the first trimester here?
Great. Yeah, it's been nice. My body's not really changing. I mean, it's been fun. It's like slowly sinking in a little bit. Yeah. It didn't sink in much when we found out we were pregnant. I feel weird saying this, but that's what people say, right? We are pregnant.
When we found out you were pregnant.
We found out, okay. When we found out you were pregnant, it just didn't. One, I didn't let myself get to the point where I was just like totally elated because we just had a miscarriage, and then, I wanted to give it some time, and there concerns like genetic testing, which we've done, and ultrasound, which we've done, and we kind of made it through the first trimester. Slowly started to let the reality of it all sink in. The gender reveal, definitely. allowed it to sink a little deeper and started to put myself into the mental headspace of like, you know, what's it going to be like to have a son and all the amazing things that will include, as well as some of the challenging things. And so it's been really fun. For me, it's mostly like a, you know, mental, emotional shift. I'm trying to get, you know, in better shape after having 7 or 8 months of just travel and
Chase
tons of things going on.
refuses to let the dad bod enter the chat.
No, I will be redefining dad bod. I'll look better than I ever have as a dad.
Yeah.
I'm committed to that.
Hopefully I won't build any bitterness when I'm like just chained to the child, like sucking at the teat. And you're like, well, I'm going to go get another workout in.
Well, that's the thing, is like more workouts actually isn't the answer for me. For me, it's moderating and just being really intelligent and intentional
and helping with the baby.
Helping with the baby too. Helping with the baby. So it's been really good. And
what was it like the first time you held up baby clothes?
It was a little freaky. It sunk in when my mother-in-law and my mom have purchased baby infant newborn clothes. Yeah. And when you pick them up and hold them up, and you realize they're like the size of like a Cabbage Patch doll, even less than that, you know, it's alarming.
Yeah, it's like
I'm going to have to be responsible for whatever is inside of these clothes.
Yeah. And those were 3 months, by the way. They weren't even newborn.
Yeah. It's really fun. I'm really excited. Many people have said I'm glowing. No, that's what people are saying about Mimi, not me. Although I am glowing.
You're always glowing, babe.
But yeah, no, it's fun. I'm really excited. And working on this Sedona dad life, baby. Let's go. How's your experience going?
It's been good. Same sort of feelings in the beginning where because of the miscarriage, there was like 7% of me that wasn't fully like feeling it. It was like sort of like self-preservation.
Sure.
And anyone who has dealt with loss and then gotten pregnant shortly thereafter or whenever, I don't know if that's like an option, because it didn't feel like it was like, I'm doing this, I'm actively choosing this way of thinking.
Plus,
it was
it's not
like
the first time anymore. You know, there's something about that first time where just everything's new and novel. And
I mean, I definitely feel like the novelty. I definitely feel all of that. But with the first one, first time, I didn't think about miscarriage for 1 second. It didn't even cross my mind. It wasn't something I was worried about or anxious about. So going from that, the first time, to this experience where, of course, we were so excited. I was just, immediate like projectile tears when I found out, or when, we both found out, and so excited. But there was still this like just involuntary like self-preservation, sort of like protecting your own psyche. But other than that, once we got through the first ultrasound and heard the heartbeat, oh my God. Or first we had the ultrasound at like 10 weeks and saw the heart beating. Mm-hmm. And you can't hear anything on the ultrasound. It's just visual. And at least the one that we had. And that was a moment. Like seeing the little gummy bear was just, I will never forget that feeling. Yeah. Just the like immediate relief. Like, he's in there. Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
He's in there. And then the next week we had a midwife appointment. She had the Doppler, and we actually heard the heartbeat this time, and it was like perfect and healthy. Again, just like immediate tears, just like the best sound in the world. Yeah. I wish I could like just record it and like just loop it over the course of like 3 or 4 minutes and just like listen to it as like a meditation song or something, which I still might do. But those were like really epic moments for me where I could literally feel like this weight kind of coming off of me a little bit, of my psyche, and just kind of the psychic weight that you carry after a loss. But as far as like physically how I've done, I pretty good compared to a lot of stories that I've heard from other women. Definitely had nausea, which I'm going to share later on in the episode what I did to help my nausea. That really made a difference. Never vomited, but just kind of felt like I was about to all day from weeks like 6 to 10. Now I feel fine. And yeah, the first trimester, you definitely are tired at very weird times in the day. I didn't have any motivation to work out the first few weeks. Like thinking about lifting something heavy, like sounded so hard. It sounded like so much effort, so much work. Usually I'm very excited to like work out and I feel really good about it. So that was weird. And then, you know, the weirdest part was like seeing your favorite foods and like really feeling like I cannot eat that right now or I'm going to throw up. That's weird.
You've been loving pizza though, which I am enjoying as well.
Yeah, pizza's good. And yeah, there's a few things that fruit always sounds good. And there's a few other things, but, you know, we're in the second trimester now and I can feel my energy raising. I definitely have more energy for workouts in the morning. I still get very tired in the afternoon and the evening, but overall, you know, I feel very blessed with my experience thus far because there are women who literally can't keep anything down. Shout out to my friend Lindsay. She lost weight because she could not keep anything down in her first trimester.
Wow.
I think it was the first 2 trimesters. And so it could be way worse. So I feel very blessed. Yeah, we're feeling good. And my belly is starting to pop. It's kind of straight out. I just kind of look perpetually like chubby / bloated all the time, but I'm just embracing it. I'm just letting it hang out. So yeah,
you look great.
Thanks, babe. Yeah, overall feeling really good. It's so weird to think we're 1/3 of the way there.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah.
Wild.
And it went so quick. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's do this. April, around the corner.
April's going to be here before you know it. It's going to feel like, whoa, where did the time go? Especially like through the holidays and stuff, because that time usually always goes fast anyways.
We'll have to get a third headset.
Yeah, I don't know if Dude Guy will be able to add much to the podcast.
We'll see. If he's my son.
All right. So now we all know, and we'll be able to talk about it openly on the podcast now, which will be fun. We'll even make some parent segments that will be informative and educational and fun and funny. And
yeah, I mean, parenting and having a child will totally bake into the content that we get to create, the conversations we have, the guests that we bring on. And so if you're into the medicine, there's going to be some kiddo action coming up. And we're back with the Chase and Mimi Show. So this is the format that we've been running now for a couple months. We center this episode and all these episodes around 3 big relationship questions. And we call them the appetizers we call them the entrees of the episode. But we start with segments that we like to refer to as appetizers, usually 2 to 3 that pertain to maybe something we're into, like a wellness protocol or a supplement, something we're reading, something we're learning. Maybe it's a piece of content from a friend who made a YouTube video or wrote a book or dropped a clip on Instagram. Maybe it's a segment we just make up on the spot. But all of that to lead into the entree, which I mentioned was relationship episodes. And that is the structure
relationship questions.
Relationship questions. What did I say?
Episodes.
Oh,
relationship
Jesus.
Questions that are directly from our listeners.
Pregnancy brain.
Yeah.
So we'll start with shit I've been on lately, dog, where we share what we are currently obsessed with.
Yeah. Do you want to start? You want me to go?
I'll start. Mine's quick.
Okay.
We got to Sedona after a long summer at the lake, lots of sun, lots of in and out of the lake. I really felt like my skin, which had just took a beating. And we got down here to a much more arid climate.
And it was like 90.
And it was 90. And I'm like, dude, I need to get on top of my skin game. And I'm not like I really don't obsess over this. But all I've done is changed a few things. And mostly they pertain to my morning. So I get up in the morning and I hit my red light therapy device immediately. I've had a Juve red light therapy device for like 7 years, and it's been like 6 months since I used it. I do that for about 15 minutes. I am working out about 3 or 4 times a week, and fortunately the gym has a steam room and sauna. And so I've been doing sauna, which has just supported my pores and detoxified, and my skin feels baby soft. And then when I get back, I put hydrogen, that is molecular hydrogen, on my face. And so if anybody's ever used molecular hydrogen, most of the time you can get them in a little tab and you drop it into some water. Once it dissolves, it takes about 90 seconds. I put it on my hands and wash my face with it, wash my hairline with it. And my skin feels just completely transformed.
And you can drink it. You can mist it into your eyes. That's
Molecular hydrogen, which we should do an entire episode about,
I'm sure
is a freaking life-changing product. Spoiler alert, working on bringing a product to market that pertains to molecular hydrogen. Maybe we can get into it more in future episodes, but it's just a super good for the insides, and it's also really good topically. And so between sauna, red light exposure, and some molecular hydrogen on my skin, I feel like my skin is better than it has been in a long, long time. And so for me, it's the skin game, it's the hydration, it's just the way that it feels too.
Yeah.
When you rub your hands on your face, which I tend to do as a nervous habit, I'm like touching my face all the time when I'm working. When it feels like icky and crusty, I feel bad about myself. And so when it's nice and baby smooth and shiny, I get pretty stoked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you look great. You got that glow.
Got that glow. What about you? What kind of shit have you been on?
Well, no surprise here. I've been on all the pregnancy shit, and I just laid out a few things, 4 or 5 things that I can share with you guys that I've been using that have really helped me, or that I've been loving, products or just hacks. So I'll start with my prenatal. So my favorite prenatal, I've used a couple, and the one that I landed on was from the company Needed. And we actually have a discount code because I love them so much, and I love their ethos, their values. They're known for actually putting like a clinical dose of whatever the nutrient is, or the vitamin or mineral or whatever, actually putting a clinical dose. Because if you just go to like, no shade to Costco, but just like Kirkland brand prenatal, you're going to get bottom of the barrel, or something of the like Target.
Something synthetic.
Yeah, you're going to get bottom of the barrel, cheapest, and probably a very, very low dose, probably less than what you actually need. So that's why they call it Needed, is because it's like, this is needed. These are the amounts that are needed. So I love them. They come in a capsule form, or a really delicious scoopable powder that's like vanilla tasting.
It's good.
It is really good. You've tried it. I have it in milk, or I put it in yogurt. And I have both versions, and I go back and forth. So Needed, the discount code is medicine. Favorite maternity shorts and leggings. Again, like I said, my belly's just starting to pop, and I noticed that like my old shorts, pants, leggings are very uncomfortable already. So the company that I really like, I don't have a discount code for them, but I just really like them, is it's called Vitality. I don't know, it might be like Vitality Fitness or Vitality Apparel. Just look up Vitality Fitness Apparel and you'll find it. Why I like them is they're maternity shorts, but they're not loose on my body, but there's still, I can tell, a lot of room to stretch as my belly grows. And your girl's got some thunder thighs, if you will, very muscular. Mm-hmm. And what I don't like about most spandex shorts is the seam on the bottom of the short is tighter than the actual spandex. So it'll cut into my legs, which is really annoying. You experience it with having some thunder.
I do.
This brand, I think I got the Cloud 2s or whatever. It's a raw edge, so there's no bottom seam. So it's just way, way more comfortable. So love them. My favorite nausea hack. I've heard up your magnesium. That didn't really do anything for me, although, getting solid magnesium is great. What really worked for me is putting a small bowl of berries by my bedside. And every time I get up to pee, or if I'm tossing and turning and I'm kind of awake, I pop a couple berries in my mouth. I'm talking like you put like 7 in a bowl. It's not like a ton. You could do blueberries. I did huckleberries, but my favorite is raspberries, and I still do it. So I just pop a couple berries in my mouth during the night, and it helped so much with my nausea. Like a marked difference between a couple nights I was lazy and I was just like really tired and just like went to bed and didn't go to the kitchen and put my little thing together. And the next day I was way more nauseous. It has something to do with the blood sugar and making sure that your blood sugar doesn't drop too low. And something like berries is not going to be like super high in sugar where you're getting like a crazy insulin spike or anything like that.
Very primal too. I mean, I would imagine pregnant women throughout time have been using berries for this very thing.
I don't know. It was kind of something, I think my friend Leanna did grapes or something. But I needed something that I could just gum, that I didn't have to chew because I wear retainers at night.
Right.
Other people recommend like crackers, like saltine crackers. But I was like,
think about that. Does your baby want saltines?
No, my baby wants raspberries.
Yeah.
So yeah, try that. It worked wonders for me. Okay. So one of my favorite baby pregnancy birth books thus far has been actually a book that we read together, and it's so huge. We've only gotten like halfway through it. But it's the Sears baby book, everything you need to know about your baby from birth to age 2. And it's called Sears baby book because it's written by a bunch of doctors, pediatricians, RNs, William, Martha, Robert, and James Sears. So they're very aligned with us in our kind of more holistic,
super informative,
more holistic lifestyle. And I just really appreciated their help. It's a lot of like baby logistics. Like, let's talk about breastfeeding. Let's talk about, comforting your baby. Let's talk about all different types of diapers. So it's definitely more just like logistical stuff. But yeah, very, very informative. Definitely check that one out. I have a ton more, recommendations that I can, put on Instagram or something, but that one's definitely a must read. My last one here, my last little shit I've been on, stretch mark prevention. You want to keep the skin very, very hydrated and moist, which we're in the desert now. So that would have been really easy in San Diego, but being in the desert, I need more and more moisture. And part of that is like, obviously what you're putting in your body, what you're feeding your cells. And, obviously I'm using tremella and things like that. But going from the outside is important too. So I'm using a product called, it's from the company 8 Sheep Organics. And, I have their duo product line that's True Belly Serum. And then they have like a thicker little, it's like a paste kind of. So you use both of these, and it's got really good reviews for preventing stretch marks. So my belly is not big enough to have stretch marks, but fingers crossed. Not that there's anything wrong with stretch marks, but like, if you don't have to get them, I don't want them.
Right.
So, yeah, that's the shit I've been on lately.
Love it. Yeah, that's really good. No, you've been dialed in. I'm impressed.
I'm doing my best.
All right, next segment. We call this one something I just figured out when I was today's years old.
You always say today's.
When I was today's years old.
Today years old.
Why wouldn't you say when I was...
Today years old.
Today years old.
Yeah.
But it's today's years old.
No, I'm today years old.
I think it's today's.
No. I promise you. I'll bet you $5.
Well, you're hijacking the podcast. I was today years old.
There you go.
When I found out.
I found out the secret to not waste time scrolling or being on your phone while you're on the toilet.
Oh.
We talked about this a couple episodes ago. I think it was like 9 subtle red flags of life. And one of them was like just sitting on the toilet and scrolling. Like you're doing number 2, you got a stage 2 emergency and you're on the toilet and you have your phone. Like most people, a lot of people have their phone in there, and it's just so easy to just like sit there. And plus it's kind of like relaxing. It's nice. You get your feet up on the squatty potty, and it's really easy to just sit there for way longer than you need to. But I found the antidote, at least for women. So I was listening to a physical therapist on a podcast episode. I can't remember her name right now. And one of the questions, she focuses on women's health especially, and part of that is pelvic floor therapy. And the host asked her, like, what's something that every woman, that could help every woman, that like is just an easy thing or whatever. And she was like, don't sit on the toilet longer than you need to, because when you do, speaking directly to like the pelvic floor, right? And especially after birth, when those muscles have really like gone through the gambit, gone through the ringer, if you will. when you sit on the toilet and the lid is up, all of the, weight of your body and gravity is pushing down into that hole. And so it's like squeezing your body through that hole. And especially if you like sit on the toilet and say you like blow your nose, you're sending even more pressure down there. So it just weakens the muscles, it weakens everything and puts way more pressure than necessary in that general region. So that's good enough motivation for me to not sit on the toilet longer than I need to, because I want my pelvic floor to be functional.
I mean, even guys who don't have a vagina, you can get hemorrhoids from sitting on the toilet for too long.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, keep your phone away because you can get down a scroll hole and then God knows what will come out of your hole.
Right. Exactly. So there you go. Women, you are welcome. I just fixed your scrolling on the toilet problem.
Next, appetizer. My personal favorite. We call this one the times are tough, but the memes are easy. All right, I'll start.
This is possibly our most shallow segment, but certainly our funniest.
I don't measure a thing when I cook. I just sprinkle and add stuff until I hear the spirit of my ancestors whisper, "That's enough, child."
I never hear that. I never hear that voice with garlic.
I know.
I just had to quit my job so I would have enough time to make sure I was eating enough protein.
God damn it. I actually feel that.
Yeah.
Me in prison. OMG, you guys, stop laughing. We have to go to sleep.
That's so funny. People who learn English as a second language are fucking superheroes. Could you imagine looking at the word yacht and not just giving up?
That's a great point.
Do you know how to spell yacht?
Y-A-H-T.
Y-A-C-H-T.
Gee, is there really a little secret C in there? Yacht.
Yacht.
Hard times create nicotine men. Nicotine men create good times. Good times create weed guys. Weed guys create hard times.
That's so good. This one is great. Everybody got their favorite little shitty movie that they defend to the edges of the earth. What's your favorite little shitty movie that you defend?
God, there's so many. Probably Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, the arm wrestling movie.
Oh, yeah.
What about you?
Center Stage.
I don't remember that movie.
The ballet movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
It's not like good.
Right.
But it's good.
No. This one's for you.
Okay.
You're not supposed to drink when you're pregnant because the baby isn't 21.
There are many other reasons.
That's the joke.
Yeah. Oh man, this goes so deep. Mom, I hope you're listening. You don't understand, Mom. Those are my emotional support boxes of miscellaneous junk that I need to store unopened in your basement for somewhere between 3 and 35 years.
Yeah, that's real.
It's very real.
Do you want to unsubscribe? Yes. Are you sure? So sure. Tell us why first. Other. How about fewer emails? No emails. Fine. You'll receive 3 cancellation confirmation emails, 1 survey, and to be honest, probably all of our other emails.
Yeah. Seriously. Why is that? Why is that such a thing?
Oh, it's so annoying.
It's so annoying. All right. I think this is the last one for me. In elementary school, when we would have to read out loud to the class from the textbook, I would literally count the kids in front of me and figure out what section I was reading so I could practice it before it got to my turn. And I think that's where my anxiety started. I seriously would do that. Did you ever do that?
I don't think I would do that, but what we would do, some of my friends in the class, is like, we would, if we were reading a book out loud, like I remember Where the Red Fern Grows, every time we had decided that the word dogs meant dick or balls, like
Who's we?
My friends and I. And so when we had to read out loud, we would start laughing so hard. And the whole book is about 2 dogs.
Yeah. It's a great book.
So every time we would say dogs, and we'd just like secured the fact in our mind that it actually meant like your balls. And so when you would read a sentence where it kind of was like perfectly timed, where dogs would sound like balls, we would just start dying laughing. So it's so hard to read out loud. I don't know if that relates to the meme
This
at all.
is a perfect representation of us in school. The harsh differences of us in school.
So he pet his dogs.
Yeah.
We would be like, oh my, we just start dying laughing.
Oh no, I get it.
Fifth grade.
No,
Good
I get
stuff.
it. I just think it's a great representation of the two different experiences in school, where I was making sure that I memorized that paragraph perfectly so that I could be seen as this really good reader. And you're like, I'm not even going to pay attention, but balls are dicks and dogs are balls.
All right, I got a few more. I'll rapid fire these.
All right.
Sunny D tastes like someone made a bet that they could make orange juice without oranges.
That's true.
Bro, last night was straight to DVD. I like this because I'm going to start using that when it's like, oh, how was your guys' weekend? I'm like, straight to DVD. Wasn't great.
Like, not great.
Not great.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Imagine Pinocchio roasting you for 5 minutes straight and his nose hasn't moved an inch.
Sad.
Damn, girl, are you the Bible? Because I would like to misinterpret you in whatever way would be most beneficial to me.
Wow.
And then last one, cooking videos on TikTok are always, all you need is a prime cut of Kobe beef, some fresh Swiss chard, a little foie gras, I don't even know what that is, and a bottle of 2005 Chateau de Fou Pape. Lady, I've got an egg and some mustard. What temp do I set the air fryer to?
Oh my God. Oh, that reminds me of this memory I had. In college, when I went to Arizona State. I lived with my brother, CJ, and there was one week where we had nothing in the fridge. And we were obviously like needed to make food. It's not because we were poor or anything. We just were lazy and didn't go to the store that week or whatever. And I remember opening up the fridge and we had eggs and tortillas and like condiments. And so I made an eggy tortilla wrap thing. And CJ made fun of me so hardcore, but because I like bit into it and I was like, this is actually pretty
Not
good.
bad, yeah.
It wasn't bad. And he just like gave me the most shit for eating that. I'm like, dude, don't knock it till you try it. But anyways, the egg thing reminded me of that.
Well done.
Yes. All right. Next segment. If you are an avid listener of the Medicine Podcast, you'll remember a segment we did this summer called Signs of a Healthy Relationship, where we went back and forth and talked about underrated signs of a healthy relationship. And I thought it would be fun to do this again, but involve our friend ChatGPT. So I came up with a prompt and I said, this is exactly what I typed to Chat. Pretend you are a stand-up comedian. Speak as if you are comedian Adam Ray. If you guys don't know who Adam Ray is,
he's so good.
You should. I just discovered him within the last year, I think, from Kill Tony. And he is like so effing hilarious. And like not enough people know about him. So just like look him up. Adam Ray. He's amazing. Okay. Speak as if you're a comedian Adam Ray. I'm a podcaster interviewing you. If I ask you, what are some signs of a healthy romantic relationship? What would you say? Give at least 10 signs, both funny and serious, from the perspective of Adam Ray. Chat didn't miss a beat. Chat got right into it.
I think a Chat Adam is better.
Chat Adam, yeah. Chat Adam. He said, oh man, I love this question. Let's break it down. Signs of a healthy romantic relationship. Buckle up because this is going to be good. We can just alternate here. You fight, but over dumb stuff. Like, did you seriously just put the empty milk carton back in the fridge? That's a healthy relationship. It's the serious stuff that can send you to counseling. Empty milk cartons, that's just Tuesday.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that is true. Like, I don't know if it's, I don't know if I would say, yeah, that's healthy or whatever, but that's just real. Like, you argue or have little moments over like the dumbest things, where if you were to tell someone else, like, what are you guys arguing over right now? If you said it out loud to someone else, you'd be like almost embarrassed.
If they only get as bad as empty milk cartons in the fridge, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
You have a shared Netflix algorithm. If you're still in the who's watching phase, not healthy. But if Netflix thinks you're both obsessed with murder docs and baking shows, soulmates.
Right. You can fart in front of each other. Yeah, you knew I'd go there. True love isn't flowers and poetry. It's Dutch ovens and not being judged for it.
Chat Adam. Very funny.
This is so true, except I went years without farting in front of you.
Yeah, it was impressive.
I would leave the room every time.
No, I think I was a month, maybe.
Oh, maybe, if that.
You still check on each other, even when it's inconvenient. Like you're 8 episodes deep into a binge and they're like, babe, you good? Need some water? That's love, man. They're invested in your hydration. I'm really impressed by how I can really picture Adam Ray saying
I know.
This. Good job, chat.
Yep. You don't have to ask to steal fries. When they stop protecting their plate and just slide those fries over, you're in for the long haul. Chase is really, really good at sharing your food. I don't know if I am or not. I think I am. We usually share a lot of stuff when we go out to eat. But if I were to just reach across the plate and grab some fries, you wouldn't be like, whoa.
No. Well, I appreciate being able to sample.
Yeah.
And I like a diverse array of experiences when I'm at one restaurant. And it always frustrates me to have to limit my choice to just one. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I support that as a multi-lane option. You laugh at each other's bad jokes, not just the good ones, but the jokes that are so bad you consider calling their mom to ask if this was always an issue.
You definitely have some dad jokes. We both say weird shit to make each other laugh. That's like definitely dumb.
Yeah.
And we know that we're just searching for a laugh from the other person. And that's okay. You don't snoop on each other's phones unless you're playing what's the weirdest search in your browser history, which is risky but fun. Because look, if you're Googling, why do my boyfriend's feet smell like sour cream? That's love and commitment right there.
You're comfortable in silence, not awkward silence. I'm talking about that I'm going to stare at my phone for 2 hours and not say a word, and we're still cool kind of silence. I don't know if that's a healthy practice.
I know.
I would not put that one on here.
I know what he's saying here, or chat is saying here. Because we've said that before, like in a car or whatever, like you don't always need to be filling it with words. We spend 24/7 together. So like not every single second needs to be, filled with conversation.
Right.
You've got their weird quirks memorized. Like when they're tired, they sound like a chain smoker, or they eat their pizza crust first. And instead of being freaked out, you're like, yeah, that's my person.
Yeah. I mean, those things become endearing, right? Like, the way that I have to dry my lips before I put chapstick on, the way that you twirl your hair repetitively at dinner to keep it out of your food, even though it's going to go right back in the same spot.
Yeah. We all have those little idiosyncrasies.
You genuinely root for each other. Like even if they want to take up something dumb, like a competitive balloon animal making contest, you're there with you got this, babe, because their weird is your weird now. That's good.
Yeah, it is. We've said that before.
Weird is a critical component to intimacy.
Yeah. You got to just accept it and root it on and be about it, as I say.
All right. Very nice foreplay for what we will now open up the conversation for. Relationship questions. We got 3 of them as usual. And these are from our actual listeners, our actual viewers. And so if you guys ever want to submit a question, a comment, even a crazy story, you can send it to themedicinepodcast@gmail.com. Or you can always just drop it into YouTube comments on this episode or any video that you see. We try to answer every comment that we get on YouTube, and we will incorporate all of those into the selection process for this part of the episode.
Yeah.
First question. How do you know when it's time to walk away?
This is a tough one. Obviously, every circumstance, every situation is different. But so you can only speak to like, what is the person feeling inside that could be consistent through totally different situations? I would say one feeling that could contribute to you being like, all right, it's time, is if you've had problems or dysfunction and you both have genuinely tried to work on them together, whether that's seeing a counselor like Figs O'Sullivan, or reading a, relationship book together, or going to a workshop together, and you've both genuinely put in time and effort to make things better, but you're seeing that it actually comes down to a fundamental difference of values. What's important to you. So like if you keep running into conversations, arguments, fights, dumb example, but it I think this is real for people. If one person is say really interested in like holistic health, being super healthy, eating well and working out and doing things to like keep your body really healthy, and the other person is like could give two shits about it, you're going to constantly probably bump into arguments or things, especially if you have kids in the situation. If you do not have those fundamental similar values around something as important as health, that is something that is, for me, a non-negotiable. And so I think if it comes down to fundamental values that neither one of you are willing to change, you're going to keep bumping into the same problems. So that could be a sign that, it's time to like say, thank you. I wish you the best.
Yeah. Do you think there's a time limit on it? Do you think that you should put like because if you just wake up and have those feelings for the first time.
Yeah. That's what I mean is you've each put like genuine effort into like making the situation better, trying, having conversations about it, having check-ins. But if each person, if one or both people is not willing to change, or, if they're just like, it comes down to these different values, first principles, first values. If you just don't give a shit about your health, it's really hard to just have your partner make that change, for you. So, I mean, I can't say, work on it for at least 2 months because everyone's different. But, put some real effort towards it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? When you hear that question, what comes to mind?
I'm going to assume that the framing of this is around a relationship that you've been in for a little while. And that it's not just like, the second date, because, if you don't feel great on the second date, don't keep doing that. Right. Get out of there.
Sounds like a committed relationship.
And so we talk about this idea a lot, but for a committed relationship, it's really important to either directly align on, or at least have a pretty good indirect understanding that both of you are on a path together, that relationship has what we learned from Jason Picard as the high dream, which is like the potential, the best potential for this relationship, and the way that it acts when it's at its best. And you really define that, and you can clearly pinpoint it, and you can look back on, say, this was a moment when we were at the high dream of our relationship. Look, we're on the path of our high dream because look at all the things that are manifesting in our life. And then there's a low dream, and that low dream is kind of like the, evil twin of the high dream, and it's the worst of yourself. And it's a healthy exercise to obviously directly communicate these and define them for the relationship, because you can pinpoint where you're at on that scale. But even indirectly, I think most relationships can identify that there's been at least some shared alignment on the better times and the worst times. And if you're finding yourself where your paths seem to be going in completely different directions, and that your definitions for high and low dreams start to be quite different, like, red flags would be like, dude guy just said he had the best weekend of, his life with you, and you were like, oh my God, I felt icky all weekend. I felt like we were not connected. I did not have fun. You picked up on 0% of the signals that I was giving you that I was miserable. That's a clear sign that your high dream definition is totally shifted and totally changed. And then I think that, so that's part one to me, is that there's some consistent, repetitive differences in the way that you're perceiving the status and the health of the relationship. They've been communicated, and they're continuing to not mend in any way. I think that's evidence enough, very high level, that it's time to, think about moving on. Yeah. And then the only other thing that I would say in addition to that would be, are you self-sabotaging? are you making yourself a victim? Because it's really easy for people to get a little bit into the deeper end of a relationship and get scared because maybe they've been hurt in the past, or maybe they've never seen what a healthy relationship looks like. And so unconsciously they're self-sabotaging and looking for all the possible evidence that could keep the relationship from taking that next step. And then victim would be the same way. So you're scorekeeping in the relationship. You think that you're doing significantly more than your partner is doing. You feel like, you have all of these positive attributes that you're bringing and they have all these negatives. But if you had a completely unbiased perspective, it would more along the lines of be relatively equivalent. It's just that you're setting yourself up to be the victim. And so those are like, I forget what that archetype is called. It's your survival archetypes. And just being really aware of whether you are victimizing yourself in the dynamic, whether you are self-sabotaging yourself in the dynamic, because those can actually have nothing to do with your partner and just be exclusively your shit. And so evaluate the relationship, but then also factor in how you may be, biased in your own evaluation. And then I think you've got, a pretty good case for deciding whether or not to move on.
Yeah. Definitely agree with all of that. I think another way to look at it is, or another thing I would add is, if say you have 10 interactions together with this person, just you're making dinner together or whatever, just interactions that you are around this person, and 8 out of 10 of them are negative, where they're ending up in a fight. One of you says something hurtful. You come away feeling like, oh God, you just feel so negative 8 out of 10 times, or maybe even like 7 out of 10 times, like an overwhelming majority of your interactions together are negative. That's a good sign that either you guys need to hit up some hardcore help, counsel. But if you've already tried that or already presented that to your partner and they're not interested, that's good information for you to move on. And piggybacking on that, adding another point to this question, if you are having some dysfunction, or if you're just not as happy as you were in the past, or your things are not going well, and you do present to your partner, hey, I'd like to really invest in our relationship a little bit more, and your partner, and you do it in a loving way, not pointing the finger and saying like, this sucks, I hate being with you, we need help. Like, that's very different than saying like, I want to experience an epic relationship with you, and I'm willing to put in more effort and time and energy into experiencing that with you. I would love to blank, whether that's see a counselor, read a book together, listen to the medicine podcast, or whatever the thing is. If you're putting it out there and they are shutting down every idea that you have and just absolutely not interested in working on the relationship with you, that is absolutely enough grounds for me to say we clearly have different values.
Yeah.
And I'm not here for this. So like,
yeah, for sure.
So I think that's
if you
definitely
communicate, this is super, super important to me at a very, very fundamental level, and your significant other is like, well, not to me, or I'm not interested.
Yes, I agree. I think that the person needs to relay in a loving way how important, and that, not necessarily give an ultimatum, but like, this is a fundamental value of mine, being with a partner that wants to work on things together. So I think you can do it in a loving way. You want to move on to the next question?
Sure. I'm dating a guy that can't commit to me, but being with him is still fulfilling nonetheless. Is it realistic to think I can call in another aligned partnership while still being energetically invested in him?
You want me to start?
I mean, my feedback on this one is like, sure, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't feel great about that. Human beings are a little bit different than like renting a house and trying to manifest the house of your dreams that you want to purchase. I don't think it is fair to the person that you're with. It's one thing to be like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever end up with this person, but we're still dating. you don't need to be in relationships only because you're going to marry the person or want to be with them forever. But I do think that if you're like literally having a practice for calling in another human being while also still dating somebody else, I don't think that's great, like karmic weight to carry around. Because if that person felt completely different, that just makes me a little sad. That's just a little bit of a bummer. So like for me, that's a pretty quick answer of like, if you want my opinion, and this person is obviously like aware of being energetically invested in things, and energetically, this doesn't seem like a great investment even for manifesting the part. Like what do we know about manifestation? You need to manifest from a place of magnetic attraction. And if you are right now manifesting a partner of your dreams while also still holding on to something because it serves some level of validation related needs, you are going to attract the same damn thing.
Yeah, right. Like you need, in order to manifest, to call in, whatever you want, you need to be really clear on what it is that you want so that you can think about, how do I want to feel with a partner? How do I want to experience the relationship? What do I want to feel when I'm with this person? And so with the guy that she's seeing, but they're not committing to each other, she says, a guy that can't commit to me. So clearly there's just a fundamental difference in like what they actually want. You need to be really clear on what it is that you want. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with this guy because he's not ready to commit and be in a, committed monogamous relationship. Whatever. He has that prerogative. But I do think it is a little bit of a mismatch energetically. If you're, calling and texting and going on dates, but not committing, or, not being in a committed relationship, but that's really what you want. So I think you're better off being like, all right, what do I actually want to experience in a relationship? I want to date a guy that sees my value as a partner and, loves me and wants to choose me and only me. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so, putting that out there and still being with this dude guy, it's just mixed messages. I think it's certainly possible,
sure,
to be with to be on, going on dates with this person and then happen to meet the love of your life at a grocery store randomly, where you're just like, oh my God, it was love at first sight. We knew right away. Sure.
Or if you have an agreement with somebody where it's like, hey, we both know this isn't going anywhere, but I enjoy spending time with you, and we're physically attracted to each other, and if there's consent, by all means.
But that's a situation where both people want the same thing, which is just like a fun time.
I wouldn't, for instance, when we got back together, before we got back together, we started talking, we were friendly. We had a couple pretty emotional conversations, and I broke up with the girl that I was dating. Didn't feel good to me to like be seeing this girl and also be like, oh, by the way, I'm talking on a really deep and intimate level with my ex-wife.
Right.
I wouldn't want that done to me.
Yeah.
So just for my own, like I couldn't sleep at night type of feelings, just clean yourself of things that are heavy.
All right. I'll read the last one here. If you notice your partner's friends have red flags, how do you navigate that scenario without hurting your partner? This is a good question.
And we have agreed that this means if your partner's friends are people that are giving red flags to you, like, oh my God, their friend is a fuck boy.
Right. Yeah. Like red flags are coming up.
Yeah.
Basically, it sounds like what she's saying. If you don't like your partner's friends, how do you tell them that, you don't want to spend a lot of time with them without hurting them?
Yeah.
Which is a great question.
I think it's a great question. And so let's make some assumptions like we always have to do with these relationship questions. We're going to assume that their friends are shitty. Okay.
Like that she's not just making this up out of thin air.
Yeah. We've got, like, for instance, we just finished watching the show Nobody Wants This, which is such a good show. We've already talked about it on previous episodes, but I think that, and I'm forgetting the names of these characters already, but Kristen Bell's sister sucked.
Morgan.
She sucked.
She did suck.
And
she had some like redeeming qualities.
They kept some redeeming qualities in there.
So you didn't absolutely hate her?
And family is kind of off the table because you can just, you can't tell your partner to, you know, completely cut off from their family unless it's an extremely toxic situation. But even like friends that they've had for a while, you know, and they're low vibe. Yeah. In this relationship, you want to be higher levels of consciousness. You want to grow with this person. Yeah. You want to create a better life for yourselves together. And they've got these Klingon friends that are just dragging this person down. I think you, after an appropriate amount of time, like maybe not date 2, but you've seen these friends in enough circumstances to see consistent traits, consistent threads of the way that they behave, and it is shitty and it's selfish, and maybe they don't want what's best. You know, oftentimes with friends that get into relationships that's actually taking them to new stratospheres of behavior and emotional intelligence and happiness, those friends want to pull them down, like come back to the bullshit that we're a part of. Yeah,
especially if dude guy hasn't been, you know, maybe he's been single for a long time and he gets a girlfriend, and you know, his friends are like, WTF guy, we still want to go out to the club. Right. Like, you're coming with us, and no, you don't bring your girlfriend kind of thing. Like, that happens for sure.
And so I think it's totally justified and appropriate to just sit down and, again, as always with conversations that are challenging, set a container. Yeah. Which means just establish your intention for the conversation, which is like, hey, I have something really important that I want to share with you. I want to make sure you're in a headspace to be able to like totally focus on the topic at hand, be able to receive what I have to say, but also like I'm really interested in hearing from you from a genuine spot how you feel about the things that I'm about to say. Not just like a flippant response, like your friend's an asshole, because then you're going to get his same level of depth in response, which will be shallow. Yeah. And so setting that container with also,
and I think asking, when would a good time be for you?
Yeah. Yeah. All the go-to, like how to set up deep conversation criteria. But also layering in like, the reason I want this is because I'm really digging this relationship. Like I really care about us and where this is going. And so this is why it's important to me, because my friends are important to me. And I know it's important for you to have, you know, a close circle as well. But here's what I'm experiencing. Please correct me if I'm misinterpreting, but here is what, you know, your friend Tommy is making me feel like when we're together or when we're around them. How do you feel about that, et cetera? I don't think you have to come out with like, no more hanging out with them. You don't have to set those rules unless it was to get to the point where it's like violating something in the relationship. Like, let's say fuckboy Tommy invites dude guy boyfriend to a party, and there's drugs and there's a bunch of, you know, hot chicks there, and like maybe that violates what you've deemed to be kind of a reasonable recreational activity for a committed partner to participate in. And then that's where you can be like, listen, if I'm going to be in a relationship with you that's committed, that's a non-negotiable for me. There's no fuckboying around. Even if you're not cheating on me, it's just, I'm just not comfortable with it. You have every right to do that, but don't come out of the gate with that if it's never happened. Right. Don't get into the hypotheticals that are completely irrelevant. The more balanced you are, the more respect you will garner from your significant other. And if they don't respect that, all that container setting, it's still good information. It might feel like shit, but if they give you heat in response or gaslight you for what you're experiencing and tell you you're crazy and whatever, that's good evidence too.
Yeah. I think, you know, using the same situation, the hypothetical situation that we have to kind of make up here. If dude guy's friends are pressuring him to be in situations where she's not comfortable with them, we're just using that hypothetical situation. You know, she could start out, do all the container thing that you said. She could start out by saying like, you know, talking about her own experience, not putting it directly on him right away, but just saying like, you know, I was just noticing in myself, like when your friends or when your friend Tommy pressures you to go out to the club or go to a strip club or go to a house party that I can tell like you don't really want to go to, but you're friends with them, so you say yes or whatever. I can feel in myself like that it worries me. And I can feel myself like kind of pulling away from the relationship a little bit because I don't necessarily like want to get hurt. And that kind of environment is not something that I want in my life.
Yeah.
And so I can feel myself like kind of pulling away. And I don't like that because I really, like you, or maybe I love you, in this situation. Like I really love you and I don't want to pull away, in this situation. Like, how do you feel? And make sure you're asking him questions, not accusing, because he could be thinking like a lot of the same things, but they've been buddies since college for 15 years or something. And it's hard to let go of those relationships sometimes. So make sure you're continuing to ask him questions like, what do you like about your friend Tommy? Like, what draws you to him? And if it's like, well, we've been friends since college, and it's like, that's the only thing.
Right.
Like, okay, just like gather information, start the conversation. It's not like you have to fix it on night one of having a conversation. Sure. I think opening the door, letting him know how you feel, that it affects you in a certain way, and then being not accusatory, and just continuing to ask questions about his experience with his friends, is a really good way to open it up. And then how that unfolds will dictate how you handle the rest of the conversations. Yeah. But, we can't continue to hypotheticalize forever. But I think that's a good start.
Great question.
Great question. Yeah. If you guys, and again, like all of this is on YouTube, these questions are from our listeners. If you guys listening have completely different thoughts, or we missed something completely, we want to hear from you guys. Like, leave a comment. If you have other good ideas for this person who asked the question, let us know on YouTube. We love hearing from you guys.
All right, guys, before we wrap this thing up, crazy story segment of the episode. And instead of a crazy story today, I've got a couple crazy, cringy proposals.
Oh, all right. Proposals.
Yeah.
I have not heard these by the way.
This is from a compilation of Reddit posts and users from the internet who've told their horrendous proposal stories. My husband proposed to me in the ER. We went out for dinner, and he planned to propose before dessert. He ordered pasta with portobello mushrooms in it, which he had never had before, and it turned out he was extremely allergic. He went into anaphylactic shock. The waiter called 911, and we had to go to the hospital, where he got a dose of epinephrine. While he was being held for observation, I was standing next to the bed filling out paperwork, and he just looked over at me and asked, "Will you marry me?" I was completely shocked, and once I knew it wasn't a reaction to the drugs, I said, "Yes."
Oh, that's bad, but it's a great story.
This one's pretty good. My now husband and I were on a vacation at Disney World. He didn't know where to propose there, but somewhere was his plan. Following a day of enjoying the park, we went back to our hotel to prepare for dinner reservations. I popped into the bathroom while he grabbed the ring out of the hiding spot and tried to figure out how to hide it. I opened the door, and there he was, ring box in hand with a stunned look on his face. Poor guy just handed it to me.
Oh.
So I said yes, and we did technically get engaged in Disney World. It was just the hotel bathroom.
Oh man, that's sad.
This is a pretty good one, close to home. Literally, one day someone in the class asked my teacher how he proposed to his wife, and he actually told us that he proposed to her on a beach somewhere in San Diego. But when it came down to proposing, a naked guy casually crossed the beach, and then others began to follow. We're talking about tens of naked people walking by on the beach. He had no idea that it was a nude beach. It must have been Black's Beach.
Yeah. Don't propose on Black's Beach.
We were going to meet in our hometown. He flew in and I drove. He got there before me, and he had planned to already have the hotel room and be on one knee when I met him. That is not what happened. The hotel gave him a room someone was already staying in. He had to go back down to the lobby and wait for another room to be cleaned. I showed up while he was waiting. We finally got a room and I walked in. I started stripping off all of my clothes, bra and shirt off. I heard him say something and turned around, and he was on one knee. I instinctively grabbed my boobs and said, "Oh God, are you serious?" Boob grabbing proposal.
Oh, that's amazing. What's the moral of the story here for you?
I would say backup plans, dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, I would say moral of the story, if something happens that isn't according to plan, don't make it weird. Just go with it. Like, don't be all frustrated. Don't get angry or whatever. Just like embrace it, that it's happening, that it's weird, that it's not the best. And then it will end up being a good story later if you just go with it.
Right.
Instead of like, you know, getting angry or something. Like if he were like the guy on the Black Speech, if he were to be like, are you serious? You're naked right now. I'm trying to propose. Bah! Like that could ruin the situation instead of just like laughing about it and being like, this was not what I planned for the proposal.
I feel like most of these folks handled it well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Good stuff. Fun fact, while we're talking about proposals, Chase had the most epic proposal the first time. Circa 2012, December 21st. No, December 12th. Was it? No, the 21st. It was the day that the world was supposed to end.
It was the 21st, yeah.
December 21st, 2012.
It was the end of the Mayan calendar.
Yeah, December 21st, 2012. And he set it up to where I was like walking into his house for dinner and I had to use the back door, and he had like this beautiful poem that he put together and all the lights were off. There was candles lit in the whole house. There was an owl and it was all Harry Potter themed, but like tasteful Harry Potter, not like dorky Harry Potter.
Very subtle.
It was subtle. He wrote this poem out and it basically was like something about like basically get to the tree.
Get to the tree. There was an ornament on the tree that you had to open the ornament and inside was the ring.
So I walk inside. There's no one inside. I'm like looking around for people. There's no one. The lights are all off, but there's candles lit. This path with like tulle around it. Beautiful. And there's Harry Potter, like the theme song, music, whatever, on the loudspeaker. Your parents' like 5-star hotel loudspeaker, music loudspeaker. And I walk through the kitchen and they have like a 20-foot granite slab island with pictures of us throughout the years. And it was a really magical moment. And then I turned the corner. The whole tree was lit up with one gold ball that looked like a snitch. My sister made the silver wings and the ring was sitting there inside. And then Chase emerged from a side room and
there was mistletoe on the ceiling.
There was mistletoe on the ceiling and it was really beautiful. It was a lot of effort.
Very good for a 21
that was very good.
Year old or 20-year-old.
Yep. I loved it. All right, you guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know if you did in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And again, if you want to send in a question, just email us at themedicinepodcast@gmail.com and we might answer one of your questions. But we appreciate you. We love you. We'll talk to you next time. Go spread some light. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much for listening.
If you enjoyed that, check out right over here for some more fun clips.
Oh, and you're going to want to subscribe.
Bye.